Milton Keith McNulty, United States Marine Corps.
George Wally Woodall, United States Army.
Kenneth Ward Pugh, United States Navy.
Ernest Eustace Perez, United States Marine Corps.
Mark Andrew Ferguson, United States Marine Corps.
We're here this morning joining not only with our local Vietnam War veterans, but they are being honored by the city of Lancaster as part of the USA Vietnam War Commemoration. Now, everybody has seen 50th anniversary, and the questions have been, which part does the 50th anniversary commence? And what we know was there were a lot of landings by the Marines in 1965. That gives you 50. But actually, there are going to be some commemorations that go for the next several years. So who we have among us this morning in our distinguished company, and I can tell you virtually from back row to front, we have distinguished company in front of us, around us, everywhere. A few words of description about how and why we came to be here this morning. This is a set of ceremonies that the City of Lancaster put a lot of work into to make earnest and honest tribute to those veterans who, when they were called to serve, there were 7.2 million. There are 58,000 who are on that wall in Washington, 58,253 unless my brother, Specialist Bertel, corrects me. In any event, the USA Vietnam War Commemoration is coordinated with federal, state, and local organizations recognizing this rolling 50th anniversary. City of Lancaster joins more than 8,000 organizations throughout the nation which became commemorative partners. And in forming that partnership, it is to honor those 7.2 million, as well as the family members of the 9 million worldwide who did serve.
You know, this is definitely coming from the heart today. So, a couple of things, excuse me, getting over my allergies. Today we honor many brave Americans who served in Vietnam War. And specifically, I don't necessarily see my brother out in the audience, but up till just recently, he was a part of the city of Lancaster and just recently moved to Tehachapi to be closer to the rest of his family. But my brother did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam in the Marine Corps, and I appreciate him so much for the sacrifice that he's made, as well as the people that here today that we honor. We are proud to be a partner with the United States Vietnam War Commemoration for this event. There is also, as I expressed last night, there's 2 individuals that are on this memorial behind me that were very close classmates that gave up their lives. So I think it's far too often that historically we've just not taken the time to reach out and appreciate the individuals in all the armed services that, whether it was sacrifice of time or whether they put their lives for freedom, for the United States, and definitely for the citizens here in Lancaster. And so I can't say beyond words how much appreciative. My apologies if the recognition was not given to you historically, but this gives us the opportunity to step up and tell it like it really should be said. Thank you so much for what you've done. And on behalf of the Lancaster City Council, we appreciate you so much.
Veterans are veritable pillars of our society, citizens who have selflessly served for our nation. These men and women laid down their lives on the line, and some paid the ultimate price for our country. They are worthy of our respect, our honor, and our support. We join together to offer a humble and heartfelt thank you to our Vietnam veterans for your dedicated service to our nation, striving to protect our freedom both here and abroad. Your courage and fortitude, your tireless service and selfless sacrifice. I encourage our entire community to join the city of Lancaster and indeed the entire nation in honoring our Vietnam veterans. From the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, I thank you for all that you have given to us.
We have some groups that we also need to express our gratitude for today. One thing about the Antelope Valley is how it characterizes itself as a community, a series of communities that are joined in supporting military families and veterans. And we have a number of representative groups here this morning. We have among those who are with us, we have firefighter Andy Crawford in the red, white, and blue. His nonprofit in Quartz Hill renders emergency aid to veterans as needed. We have with us members of the Antelope Valley Veterans Community Action Coalition, which has not only hosted dinners for veterans, but also coordinates assistance and care, organizes the VA town hall meeting so that veterans can get their claims advanced. Also, we have among us representatives of the Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion. We also have members of the Iraq and Afghan Veterans of America. We have we also have many members who go to the Gin Her Coffee for Veterans breakfast, and it's where people fellowship and enjoy one another's company and just have some enjoyment in the time of day. And we also have the group that coordinated with City of Lancaster, Point Man Ministries of the Antelope Valley, who are the group that oversees the stewardship of what is known as the Mobile Antelope Valley Vietnam War Memorial. We not only have that, what you see behind us is the panel to the Antelope Valley 76. And for those of you who are not aware, sometime during that period of 1965, the mid-1960s, until 1975, when we took ourselves out of that land war in Asia, 76 young men from this valley served, and they were the ones who did not get to come home. Their names are also on that wall with those 58,000. 4 of those young men were killed on the same day in action, and it was a local calamity in this valley. But they are remembered, they are loved, and as Councilman Mann says, they were also his schoolmates. So we have this family connection in the American family to one another. And what we can say we're grateful about in the commemoration is that we are now honoring not only each other's service, but the memory of our friends. So I'm going to introduce Mike Bertel. Mike Bertel is the president of the Point Man of the Antelope Valley. Mike Bertel was another one of that generation in the 7 million who was drafted, and you could say he won the trifecta. Drafted into the Army, drafted into the infantry, drafted and sent to 2 or 3 different infantry divisions that operated across Vietnam and on the Cambodian border. And he is someone who served with distinction with the 101st Airborne Division, those fine Screaming Eagles, and also with the 25th Infantry Division. Somebody knows it as the Electric Strawberry. And welcome, Specialist Bertel.
Good morning, veterans, ladies and gentlemen. The AV 76 panel is the latest addition to our wall display. So every time we put up our AV wall, we have this panel out. A little background about the Antelope Valley Wall, which is formerly known as the Mobile Vietnam Veterans Memorial for the Antelope Valley. The AV Wall is a half-scale replica of the wall in Washington, D.C. 252 feet long and 6 feet tall at the apex. As of 2015, it contains the engraved names of all 58,307 men and women killed and missing in Vietnam. Our wall is updated annually to reflect the names added by the Department of Defense. The AV wall is one of the rarest homegrown memorials of its kind, and it represents the Antelope Valley's commitment to the men and women who served to their country. The funds to build the memorial were raised from 2005 to 2009, and was dedicated in 2009 in November at Joe Davies Air Park in Palmdale. The Veteran Support Group Point Man, Antelope Valley, The guardian of the wall is Point Man Inlet Valley. The wall is maintained and traveled by Point Man, and the wall staff members are 100% volunteer workforce and made largely up of veterans. The AV wall has been visited by thousands of men and women and children since the dedication in 2009, has provided education, healing, and gathering place for Vietnam veterans to mourn and remember. A visit to the AV wall offers a chance to show respect and honor to those who lost their lives in Vietnam. Many visitors have never had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. So a visit to the AV wall is a welcome chance to see the next best thing. Any name can be looked up in our database and located on the wall for visitors. A name rubbing can be made and taken home as a memento. Items can be left at the face of the wall in memory of someone. And you will always meet an AV wall volunteer willing and able to help you during your visit. The AV wall is recognized by the Commemorative Partners Association at the Pentagon in Virginia. We have also been read in publications in other states, so we're becoming pretty well known. And like I said before, the AV wall is a rare item for a small community to have something like this. So we get a lot of calls for us to display our wall in different areas, but we were developed for the Antelope Valley alone, and but we have been traveled as far as Bishop, California, and soon we'll be going in July down to Chino. As we say, most walls keep people out, and this wall brings people together. Any organizations that wishing to host the wall or get more information, just go to avwall.org.
They weren't just names, they were boys. They were on the fields of play, they were going to school, they loved girls, everybody wanted to come home. And these were the ones who were our friends, our neighbors from this valley. So we must be grateful that time has been taken to remember them and respect them as you have done today.
There's nothing we can say to thank you enough. I can stay up here all day and tell you how many times we say thank you for the service, thank you for us being able to appreciate the 4th of July like we do. You give us that. You allow us to have that. The city of Lancaster will do all it can to recognize the Vietnam veterans. We do it on the boulevard. We recognize all of our veterans. They're a special place in our heart for us. So thank you very much for what you do. You have given us that freedom that we have, and we really appreciate it. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Thanks again.
Some of you saw that splendid film about soldiers in Vietnam called We Were Soldiers, and there was a reporter in it named Joe Galloway, and a good actor named Barry Pepper played his part, along with Sam Elliott and Mel Gibson, who were all real people. And Joe Galloway, who was the reporter on the ground and the only civilian awarded the Bronze Star for Valor during the Vietnam War, actually saw fit to hire me into United Press about 40 years ago. He had a soft spot in his heart for veterans. But this is what he had to say about the servicemen who stand before us today, and servicewomen. But what he had to say about those men from Vietnam who were on the ground at Nha Trang, who are at An Khê, who are at Ya Sha Valley, who are at Cu Chi, Chu Lai, these places that you remember from your youth. It was Oliver Wendell Holmes who said, "In our youth, our hearts were touched by fire." And it was my news daddy, Joe Galloway at Nha Trang, who said, "Look at those old men standing before you. They were tigers, and that is who you are." And thank you.